Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to TPP Frontline. I am your host, Christopher Billings, alongside my longtime friend, former commentary partner, Wes Steele. Wes Steele, welcome back to TPP.
That's right. I am so glad to be back. It's been a long time, but I'm very, very happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. It makes me happy. And we've got a lot of action tonight. You know, I thought originally that they were just going to have me just do Strike Zone, but I got an email early this morning from management saying that I was going to have a broadcast partner with me, and I had to be here at 9 o'clock this morning, and lo and behold, it was you standing there. So I'm glad you're here. We had lots of fun a couple of years ago, and I'm sure we're going to have more fun as we go along. And if you don't remember this man,
I sure do. He's the one that took my job away from me the first time, so glad to see him.
Exactly. And as you see, he's still sporting the tacky suits. You know,
that's vintage Die Hard. So
it is.
Nothing surprising there.
Well, you know, just to get you up to speed, West Steele. I know you've been watching TPP. I know that, but you know, they're doing this TPP title tournament, and Die Hard, you know, has staked out 16 of the TPP wrestlers. Some of the new guys, some of the old guys.
Yes.
So I'm curious as to why he's actually coming down here. Why we aren't doing the first tournament match that we're supposed to do tonight. We have. Because we're through the semifinals almost, and we've got Adam D. Whitmore versus Sergio Brick. So I'm wondering why Die Hard is even here. He doesn't really have a reason to be here tonight.
Well, he's probably come down here for the same reason that they brought me back. They needed a good commentator. They must have needed somebody good in the ring.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Die Hard's not exactly that good in the ring. I mean, he's had some good matches. I'll give him that. But
I mean, you got to give credit to the how many time TPP champion. He's got what it takes. So obviously, there's no point in saying that it comes pretty easy. But
that is true. That is very true. He can back up what he says. That's one thing I don't think anybody can take away from Die Hard. But
might be getting a little bit old to be trying that out again. But I guess we could. I could probably see him wrestle maybe one more time.
It looks like Die Hard's asking for a microphone here.
So Damien Gamer has set his stones in motion of wanting to become a TPP champion in the near future. I want to remind Damien Gamer of something. He lost to Bryson. And he never was able to rebound from that. Then he stopped showing up for work. He stopped coming in. And then what happened? Then he became unemployed. And then he comes to me. He comes to me 3 weeks ago and says, Die Hard, I need to wrestle. But what do I do? Because I'm such a nice guy. I offer him a contract. He says, no, this contract isn't good enough. He wanted a guaranteed title opportunity. A guaranteed. No matter what happens, he wants one title opportunity at the TPP Championship. And reluctantly, very, very reluctantly, I agreed, to that. And I'm not a man that ever, cowers to somebody else's wants or needs, because after all, I am the boss. I am the judge, jury, and executioner in TPP. Now, as for Damien Gamer, you're going to be in action a little bit later tonight. See, one of the stipulations of your contract is that your guaranteed title opportunity does not come into effect until at least 60 days after the conclusion of the TPP title tournament. So what does that mean? That means for at least 2 more months. I got 2 months to figure out how I can get rid of you. That's all it's going to take. And then that contract is null and void. So Damien Gamer, tonight, you have a match. You have a very important match against Mark Lester.
Whoa. This is a theme song I don't recognize at all.
I haven't heard this before.
This is... he just interrupted Die Hard, and that's something that you don't...
You gotta have some stones to do that.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Oh.
That's who I think it is?
I think it is.
That is... Okay,
Yes.
That's Jordan Moore.
It is.
Oh my God.
See what happens when I come back to commentary. All the good things start happening again.
I think you might have told him to come. I think.
Do you think I brought him with me?
You probably did. You probably put him in like a suitcase or something. And look, Jordan is getting right in the face of Die Hard here. Now Jordan's calling for a microphone. I'm interested to hear this. This is intense, ladies. I can't believe this.
God, it feels good to be back. And please, don't act so surprised to see me. Yeah, I've been gone for a while, but you know me. I always come back. 10 years ago, you came across a kid in a gym in Ohio training in a ring, and you gave him a chance. A chance that, yeah, maybe he didn't deserve, but you gave him that shot. You took me in, you trained me, and I became part of one of the most powerful and feared groups in the history of this business, Beyond the Machine. You trained me to break through the glass ceiling, to tear down those walls, to dismantle all who opposed us and spit in the face of those that thought they could control us. And we did. Then came TCO. We weren't having to fight for attention, we commanded respect. People knew who we were and no one had a chance against us because we worked like brothers. We were a family. You got a brother, but I don't, although I'd like to think I'm a lot better of a brother than he ever was. I've had my differences with James in the past, but I think the final straw was him leaving me hanging in that cage, and I know you remember what I'm talking about. But look at you now. You've got a big head, your ego inflated, and everything changed. Just look at you, walking around here in your fancy suit, looking down on everyone like they're beneath you. You taught me that no sort of authority deserves respect, that people have to earn it. It isn't a given right. But now, you're a spitting image of what you trained me to dismantle. You've changed, Tony.
Let me cut you off right there, Jordan. I'm glad that you're here. So I can only assume that this means that you probably talked to Melinda and she offered you a contract. And I can only imagine that she offered you a contract that is much, much smaller than somebody like Damian Gamer or somebody like Mark Lester. She probably offered you something really minuscule because the only time you come back is when you need money, is when you're so broke that you need somebody. And who helps you out? Who made you, Jordan? Who gave you the opportunity? I did. Just like I give everybody in the back an opportunity. People like Orion James or Damian Gamer or Craig Hazard or even Monroe. I give people like that an opportunity to come into my company. And then when you guys get hurt, you guys go home, you scrape your knees or you bang your elbows up, it's me who's covering your doctor bills. It's the insurance policies that we pull through in TPP. It's me taking care of you guys, but I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy for giving you money to come in the ring and do whatever you do. You said you used to say you were the best in the world. Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that will stake that same claim. And it really drives it home seeing you here. Because I never ever thought that I would see you in my ring in front of me in this situation. You say that I'm driven by ego now and that people are beneath me. You're damn right, people are beneath me. I am a millionaire. A millionaire. What are you, Jordan? A wrestler that got his title opportunity. He did good. You did really good. You were a great wrestler. And you're right, we spent many, many years. Like you said, 10 years ago, I saw you in that gym. I knew that someday, maybe you could be the champion. Did I think it'd be a long-term thing? No. No. In no way, shape, or form did I think it'd be a long-term.
Yeah. Let's go back a little bit. What happened the first time I left? I left. I went to Japan. I wrestled my heart out there. And you want to know what I've been doing since I've been gone? I went back again, honing my skills, training even harder than I had before. Now you say you're all about opportunity, but let's think back just a little bit. And I know that you've got a lot more past that you can think of than I can. You're a little bit older than me, but like I said, let's go back just a little bit. You're all about opportunity. You saw an opportunity for yourself. You put everyone else behind you. You left me, just like every time you put me down, I rise from the ashes. I come back from the dead. It drives me even harder than I ever did. It pushes me farther and higher than before. Now maybe you've forgotten about our match a couple years ago. Yeah. I know your Alzheimer's is kicking in, but I put you down, and you haven't been the same since. You haven't gotten back in the ring, and there's a reason why. You can't. But I've heard the rumors. I've heard it all. What you started to say behind closed doors, behind those curtains, back there in the locker room, and then you took it public after I left. You tried to tell me that you took the fall, and let's see, I didn't earn that title. You said it was on purpose and you let me win. Really? You just let me kick you in the head? You let me put you in the emergency room? Please. You said, I'm sure you're saying it was, best for business? I'm done playing games, Tony. I'm not here to make friends. I sure as heck don't need the money. I'm here to prove a point. That no matter how many times you put me down, I rise back up. I break through that glass ceiling. I push myself even harder than before. I break through those walls, and I'll prove to you and everyone here once and for all that not only am I better than you, but I am the best in the world. And believe me, I will be the TPP champion.
Well, see, Jordan, that's the thing. You have a lot of tenacity. You've got heart. Maybe that's what it was that drew me in 10 years ago. But it seems like you hold on to these things in the past. And you mentioned it a few minutes ago about your former tag team partner, my brother-in-law, James Braden. You guys were a great team. And yeah, you guys had a little bit of a difference in a specific cage match. But you said that you're the best in the world. And you said that you will become the TPP champion again. So let's test this theory tonight. You are going to go one-on-one with James Braden. Don't worry though. I'm gonna help you out. I'm not gonna have James completely destroy you because that's just not, because I know that you and your girlfriend, I know that you guys are very close and she cares very much about you, and I wouldn't want you to get hurt and have to go back after your first night back on the job and cry that you broke your neck. So you and James Braden in a one-on-one matchup. Don't worry though, there will be countouts, a 10 count. There will be submissions. There will be pinfalls, and there will be disqualifications. This way, so that you can be assured that nobody else from TCO will get involved. Because Lord only knows you do not want to see the other side of TCO anymore. And that's one thing that I think you really need to start thinking about. So I really hope, Jordan, that you fare decent tonight. I mean, we're going to find out how much ring rust you have. It's been a while, a long, long while. So, get the hell out of my ring right now. Because these people here, they paid to see matches, and your match isn't until later tonight.
Well, those were definitely grave words. Jordan Moore staking his claim back in TPP. This is excitement.
It is. I'm definitely glad to see him back. I'm excited to see how all this plays out, especially between him and Die Hard. I did not see that coming back at all.
Exactly. And the fact that, I guess, Jordan hit it right on the head, Die Hard and his Alzheimer's. I mean, it must be kicking in. Die Hard did not want to admit. For those of you that don't know, Jordan Moore captured the TPP championship from Die Hard in December of 2011. And, after that point, Die Hard went into retirement that following night.
For sure. And after probably one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Exactly. I mean, both me and Wes Steele both got the pleasure of calling that match, and now it's time to get this TPP title tournament underway. Part of me wishes that Jordan Moore would have been in this title tournament, but Wes Steele, I know that you don't know a lot about Sergio Bricks, but this is a 6'7" Brazilian dancer.
Yeah, no, I've seen a little bit about him. I actually saw a little bit about him before he even joined TPP. After I lost my job, I had plenty of time to gaze around at other opportunities and look at a bunch of what was going on. But I'm definitely excited to see him in action tonight.
Yeah, the thing is with Sergio Bricks, it's not that he's a passive-aggressive wrestler. It's just he's very flamboyant and very charismatic. Both
great descriptive words for this this fun young gentleman here. Like I said, I got to see some of him on the independent circuit, and he is don't discount him for what he is. You see him dancing into the ring and all that stuff, but for what it's worth, he is phenomenal in the ring.
Yeah. When that bell rings, that's when he gets serious, and he still, even though when he's serious, he still has enough time to pander to the crowd and make the fans really get involved in the show. And we got a clash of styles here because Adam D. Whitmore, and I'm saying this in the nicest way possible, but Adam D. Whitmore is kind of stuck up. He's from New Jersey, and he's been raised his entire life to wrestle.
Right, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with being stuck up. You know, it's sort of a pride thing. If you know you're good enough to do something, if you've got the ability to back it up, why not say it? There's nothing wrong with being, you know, a little bit condescending, a little bit looking down on people if what you're saying you believe to be true. You know, I fully support that. I mean, even going back to the exchanges between, you know, TCO and, you know, the clique back when we had a bunch of stuff going on between them, and, you know, I sort of do hate to bring up old times, but when TCO as a group, you had Die Hard, you had Brick Wall, you had Jordan Moore, when you had all of them together, they would talk some smack, but they would also back it up.
Well, I mean, and this is a big match, you know, for both Sergio and Adam D. Whitmore. You know, both of these guys have wrestled, you know, on episode 1, they both wrestled back to back, you know, because they wrestled on Frontline and then they wrestled on Strike Zone the following night. And this, for them, you know, whoever wins between these two, they're guaranteed to be in the title match at Reckoning. And so
that's a huge opportunity for both of these gentlemen.
Exactly. This is when you are the main champion, it literally sets your career on a totally different path.
Yeah, and you know, leading up to one of their biggest matches of their career, this right here could be the biggest match of their career.
Exactly. You know, and my question is, you know, I know that with me and you know, we don't have the full-on in-ring wrestling experience, and as you see Whitmore going for a quick cover here, not even getting a 1 count, but with Landon Miles over on Frontline with me, you know, he's got wrestling experience, and if you lose in a match like this, you know, what does that do to the mental psyche? You know, I can only imagine.
Oh, it completely takes you out of the game. You know, you've got a career projection, a path that you've set yourself on, that you know where you want to be. It's just a matter of how you're going to get there. Then, you know, you lose a match like this, it completely takes you out of the game.
And then as you see, and that's the arrogance from Whitmore there, starting to taunt in front of Sergio Bricks, and Sergio Bricks using his bigger upper body and just shoulder checking Whitmore, knocking Whitmore down, but Whitmore able to get up, and then he did that double chop across the chest, and now Whitmore showing that he's
strong
got the
clothesline.
Yeah, exactly, very strong. Knocked down there into the cover, and not even a 1 count again. And like you're saying, this is possibly one of the biggest matches in their young careers right now, because if you lose, then you go back to the very bottom.
Right. I mean, you know, you want to put yourself in situations that you know you can handle. You put yourself into a spot where you've got, you know, high risk but high gain. If you take that risk and you don't take advantage of the situation, you fall short. That's a huge detriment moving forward, because you want to be up there at the top, but you've lost something that could potentially have put you all the way up where you wanted to be. You lose something like that, put you all the way at the back of the line.
Exactly. Whitmore again going for the cover, 1, 2, and a 2 count. And this matchup is still pretty early. You know, it's still in the early going here, and to get a 2 count like that on Sergio Bricks, you know, that's impressive. And like I was saying, I mean, with Adam D. Whitmore, he's trained his entire life. I spoke to him when he first signed his contract, and like you said, he knew he wanted to be a wrestler at 5 years old. You know, how do you know your life dream when you're 5?
Well, I mean, that comes. You see that a lot. I mean, you look at second, third generation superstars. Those are it's a given. But him being a first generation superstar, knowing that's what you want to do and where you want to be at such an early age, I mean, it kind of puts a lot on you. Maybe that's where a lot of that arrogance comes from. Is you know, I know where I want to be when I knew where I wanted to be when I was 5, and you know, I'm here. That does say a lot.
Yeah. I'm glad though that he did choose to sign with TPP, because he's got the tools. He's got a pretty basic look, but he has the tools to get there. And look at this modified camel clutch, placing the knee in the upper part of the spine of Sergio Bricks. Sergio Bricks can't move. He can't crawl towards the ropes right here.
Yeah, it really puts him in a spot. You can't move. You're relying solely on your ability to try to break the hold. And you know, finally you see Whitmore let him go, but he puts himself in a position like that. You need to be able to find a way to get to the ropes, and another great snap suplex there by Whitmore.
Exactly. Oh, Whitmore, big clothesline there, just knocking Sergio Bricks square on the back of his head into the cover. 1, 2, and a 2 count again. Another near fall for Adam D. Whitmore.
Yeah, and this is going to be a huge match. There's going to be a lot of back and forth. We knew that going into this match, and you said you were glad that Whitmore decided to sign. I'm glad to see Bricks here. I think they're both great competitors. They're both could be great for this brand, especially moving forward with TPP.
Exactly, and we're seeing like I've seen shades of this from Whitmore, when he debuted on Strike Zone on episode 1, but with Whitmore he's getting more aggressive as the weeks progress, and I think that's a very good trait for him to have, because one thing that some wrestlers lack is aggression. They have all the tools, but they just don't have the drive to make it happen. And I believe that Whitmore has that drive, and I believe Sergio has the drive too. I think Sergio he's got to get himself in a position where he can maintain control and keep that control going.
For sure, and yeah, like you said, he does have all the tools, and even going back to what you said before about he's got a pretty basic look. You don't need the flashy clothes. You don't need the dance moves walking into the ring. If you're just gonna get in there and beat your opponent down to the point where they can't move, you don't need anything else.
That is true. And it's that knee to the side of the skull. That'll send somebody into next week.
It will.
And big spine buster.
That was a strong move. You could tell that shook up Whitmore a little bit. And let's see if Bricks can take advantage of that with that modified backbreaker.
Well, see, now we're starting to see Bricks on the offense here, with that modified inverted backbreaker and then with that scoop slam. And now, again, pandering to the fans, but, it's part of his persona. And then with that big, elbow drop, that'll definitely, leave a nice red mark on your chest.
Oh sure, an elbow drop is one thing. A leaping elbow drop, when you're putting all of your weight into that little point of your elbow straight into the chest, none of that feels good.
And what is Bricks? Well, Bricks, see, he's good at doing these psych outs to his opponents, but big drop kick right to the small of the back. And Whitmore's, he's got to be starting to feel this. Sergio Bricks, about almost 6'6", 6'7". He's bigger than Adam D. Whitmore, weighs 240 pounds. Sergio Bricks probably about 250, 260 pounds. So he's got a little bit of a weight advantage over Whitmore, but you got to believe Whitmore's got the speed advantage.
For sure, and with that weight advantage comes a little bit of a height advantage too. That's a big man in the ring, and Whitmore is still holding his own against him, showing him what he can do.
Exactly, and Whitmore doing his own variation of a psych out there off the ropes, and I'm not sure what Whitmore was thinking there, but now on the offense, and a big knee right over the top rope. If this was an over the top rope elimination match,
that'd be it. Yeah,
Sergio
sure.
Bricks would be done.
Now here, moving to the outside, right in front of us, and just looking at this guy, Sergio Bricks is by no means a small man, and like I said, Whitmore is definitely holding his own right now.
Exactly, and I think part of it is when you have it, I guess that makes a world of difference for you. And I think that's, like you were saying with the arrogance thing, I think that's part of the arrogance with Sergio Bricks. He knows he has it.
For sure. The skill coupled with confidence and conviction. You put that belief in yourself, the trust in your own mind that you can do anything, and by God you'll do it. Another 2 count there by Whitmore, but Sergio Bricks does kick out again.
And Whitmore going right to the top, but he took a little bit too much time there. Sergio Bricks was able to capitalize and turn it back into his favor, and that may be just kind of one of those rookie mistakes. Although Whitmore has trained his entire life, that superplex will definitely do some damage. But although Whitmore's trained his entire life to be a wrestler, he never wrestled in front of a large crowd. It was always very small crowds of 100 people. He's not used to having 10,000 plus people watching him at one time.
Sure, and like I said, seeing him on the independent circuit, it does make a world of difference, especially moving into an arena like this.
Exactly, and I think that I'm sure as time progresses, for all these young superstars that Die Hard and Melinda picked up from the independent, I'm sure that as time progresses, they'll all get more comfortable wrestling in front of these larger crowds. But Whitmore still, even if he is nervous, he's showing his fundamental skills, and those are doing it in this matchup right now against Sergio Bricks.
Right, and moving into in an arena like this, into in front of a crowd like this, it'll definitely play on the psyche. And I think
Ooh!
a big uppercut there by Whitmore, and I think moving into something like this, like I said, it does play on the psyche. But if you can control it, just remember where you are and what you're doing.
And if
It
you
doesn't
don't know
matter
what this
where you
move is called, Wes Steele, he calls this move the time shift. Ooh, picks him up in a suplex, drops the knees right on the spine, and as you see, still enough time. I think Whitmore feels pretty confident right now to
Yes.
cover 1, 2, 3, and Adam D.
That's-
Whitmore has now guaranteed himself a spot in the main event at TPP Reckoning for the TPP title.
Yeah, that's huge. Whitmore, like I said, great competitor. We're all glad he's here. And I think, he was just a little bit more prepared coming into this match than Sergio Bricks was. I think it did play on the psyche a little bit more to Bricks about being in front of a crowd this size, and maybe he is just a little bit more passive, and Whitmore is just a little bit more cocky. But as you can see, he backed it up tonight.
Exactly, and congratulations to Adam D. Whitmore. I mean, full congratulations. I mean, we now know that at least Adam D. Whitmore will be in the main event. Last night on Frontline, Bryson got eliminated by Cerberus, but on Frontline next week, Cerberus versus Scythe to find out who's going to fight for the TPP title at Reckoning against Adam D. Whitmore. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have to take a quick commercial break, so we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Diehard, the CEO of the Power Plant. What is evolution? Evolution is the process of change, development, and growth. TPP Frontline is change, development, and growth. And whether you want to believe that or not, it does not matter. Because ultimately, TPP Frontline is a lifestyle choice.
And we're back here, and me and Wes Steele were just talking during the commercial about Darren Trinidad and Rollin Ryder. And for those of you that don't know that mark on Rollin Ryder's chest, on the relaunch Frontline, he had a match against Cerberus, and Cerberus beat him, and part of Cerberus's ritual is to mark his opponents that he defeats. And so I spoke to Rollin Ryder earlier today. The reason why I brought it up is because I spoke to him earlier today, and he's a little down on his confidence. Although his tag team partner Darren Trinidad, he was very sure that they're going to do good tonight in this tag team match against the Chocolate Drops. But when your confidence is broke, that we were just talking about this, in the last match. But if your confidence gets broke, it puts you in a position where it's hard to make that much needed comeback.
Right, and that is completely true. And can I just throw out there for a minute, the marking thing the Cerberus does, that's incredibly terrifying. Am I the only one that finds that disturbing?
I was when I saw Rollin Ryder get marked like that, because Cerberus, he has his 3 heads of Hades. He believes in sending people to hell.
Right.
And he had Estendo, one of his managers, out there with him, and it looked like Estendo was choking Rollin Ryder, but he wasn't choking him. He had something in his hand, and he put it onto the chest of Rollin Ryder, and now Rollin Ryder, has this marking. I don't know if it's a permanent mark or what's going on there, but for Rollin Ryder, it's tough, and right now, he's facing Tyrone Jennings, who's about 285 pounds. Rollin Ryder, 230 pounds on a good day.
A really good day.
And as you see, Rollin Ryder, though, he's using basic wrestling skills, but big back elbow from Tyrone Jennings, and the weight difference and the height difference, that makes everything change.
Yeah, and that's one thing that they're really gonna have to work on and look for in this match. Then he needs to make sure he is just sticking with the basic stuff. That don't do anything fancy, but also needs to make sure they keep the pace in their favor. I think they keep their speed up. Against a big formidable opponent. But
look at this abdominal stretch.
For sure. That's nothing you want to be put in. I can guarantee you that.
And I got a feeling Rollin Ryder is. I know you at home cannot hear this right now, but we can hear Rollin Ryder yelling as Tyrone was wrenching that, and like I said, Tyrone about 280, 285 pounds. He's somewhere in that area. It stands about 6'8". He's a pretty big guy. And Rollin Ryder's, maybe 230 pounds. And these big body shots from Tyrone Jennings aren't gonna help Rollin Ryder anymore.
Did you see that right hand to the abdomen just took him off of his feet?
Exactly.
And that huge forearm to the back. My gosh.
And the thing is, I remember when I first saw Damian Wallace come into TPP last year. He was all happy to be here. He was dancing for the fans and all this and that. And I guess because he wasn't securing the wins he wanted to secure, he kind of turned to a darker light of things. And now he's paired up with Tyrone Jennings, who's this big powerhouse of a man. And it's just, I don't know. I think now for Damian Wallace, I think he actually does stand a good chance at possibly becoming maybe a tag team champion in the near future. But right now, Rollin Ryder desperately needs to get Darren Trinidad tagged into this matchup.
He needs to get out of here. And another cover here and a 2 count. Yeah, and like I said, there's nothing fancy about what they're doing here. They're just beating him down and keeping him isolated from his partner, and it's just tearing him apart.
Exactly, and this is pure arrogance right here on the part of Damian Wallace, pinning so close to Darren Trinidad, knowing that Trinidad, is not supposed to get into the ring, knowing that he's not the legal man. He's very confident for Damian Wallace to be that close to Darren Trinidad. And that could be partially a rookie mistake on his part too, but turning it around just like that big back chop there from Damian Wallace.
And maybe rookie mistake, maybe just sending a message saying, I know you're right there and I know you can't do anything about it. Showing off to the fans a little bit. I don't blame him at all for what he's doing.
Exactly, and here we go. Okay, so Rollin Ryder sends Wallace into a friendly corner here, and okay, here we go. We're gonna get to see Trinidad, and Trinidad is actually bigger than Rollin Ryder, but he's a little bit more agile, a little bit faster paced. So we should hopefully see a pace picking up here as Darren Trinidad is now the legal participant against Damian Wallace.
For sure, and like I said at the beginning of the match, they just need to make sure they keep the pace of the match in their favor, and they might be able to knock off a very formidable team here. But if they keep playing it the way they're doing right now, do a little bit of what they did to Ryder, is keep them isolated, and I think they'll be golden.
Exactly, and with Rollin Ryder and Darren Trinidad, I was there, when they got signed, and when they were signing their contracts, they literally came fresh, like they had just went on to the independent scene. And the thing was, I think that Die Hard and Melinda wanted talent that didn't have any experience, and so they were like, well, you can come to the TPP training facility and kind of hone your craft a little bit more. And I think that's kind of what the plan was with Darren Trinidad and Rollin Ryder, and hopefully it pays off. I honestly think they probably should have had a little bit more experience under their belt, prior to getting signed to a major show. But on the same token, how are you going to get experience if nobody will sign you? So
For sure, and not to take away from the raw talent that both of these guys have. There's a lot to say for just being born with the ability to do the things that they're doing in this ring. It's not anybody that can just step in the middle of those ropes and be able to perform. And I'm a prime example of that. I've always wanted to be a wrestler. I don't. And it's nothing about my size or anything. It's just I wasn't born with the ability to do and perform the way that these guys are performing right now.
Exactly. Me and you were born to be scientific analysts during matches, to be the voice of shows. And and this is impressive though for Trinidad, just wisely going for the legs of the big man.
Take out the big man's base. He's not going to have a leg to stand on, pun intended.
And now, see, that was a mistake by Trinidad. You never send him into the enemy corner there, but at least he was able to capitalize off of it. So that was good, and that's impressive, knocking the big man down. But as you saw, Wallace there with that wild right hook turned the favor right back into the chocolate drops.
Yeah, the numbers game, especially when you're standing in the wrong corner, that's not a place you want to be. He needs to get him back into his own corner and isolate the big man is not usually the tactic you want to use. And again, being sent right out here in front of us. We're having a lot of action right in front of our table tonight.
We are, and look at this quick hurricane rana there from Damian Wallace from the apron there, and now Tyrone coming around the far side there, but it looked like Wallace told him to get back in the ring. And it's weird because Damian Wallace is not he's not the bigger guy of the team, but he's kind of the one barking the orders to Tyrone Jennings.
Well, sometimes, it's not uncommon to see the big guy not necessarily be the leader, just the muscle of the group.
And see, big right hand from Trinidad there. Now Trinidad using a flurry of strikes, and I think that's very wise of him to do that. It's wise he's got to be quick. And Trinidad here trying to get something going in his favor. A quick standing drop kick, followed up by another one. And duck under and a swinging neck breaker.
Great swinging neck breaker. That was perfect.
That was a beautifully executed one. And Wallace went for a drop kick but missed. Catastrophically missed.
It looked like he ducked right at the perfect time to pick up the big man as he was coming off the ropes of that drop kick.
And see, now all hell's starting to break loose as Ryder started to get in the ring, but then he got out. And big right hand to
Big right hand. Little man just knocked the big man out on his feet.
That he did, and now beautiful suplex there from Rollin Ryder as Trinidad now, still the legal man in this matchup. And
I'm not sure that's the best tactic. I think tagging Ryder in there would have been better. He's obviously a little bit gassed, a little bit tired. He's been in the ring for a while now. He's up to about 6 minutes on his own. So I think it would have been wise for him to go ahead and get out of the match there.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like you were saying earlier, I don't think it's even a rookie mistake from Tyrone Jennings. He knows that he's stronger than both, all three of these men in the ring right now. So he's just kind of having his way with Trinidad right there in the corner where, Trinidad's almost within arm's reach of Rollin Ryder.
And that's the key word, almost. You can't tag yourself in if you can't reach. The big man knows that, and he's putting him right back in his own corner, and that's where Trinidad does not want to be.
Oh, that knee face buster, that could break your nose.
It could. It wouldn't be the first time I'd seen it.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've seen a lot of that, throughout my numerous years of being a broadcaster, and numerous kinds of injuries, and now we're seeing Trinidad here fighting back, trying to get something going, a flurry of punches to the head, trying to
top.
keep. Yeah, exactly. He's on the top rope now. I'm wondering how he's gonna fly here. Looks like he's gonna try. Okay, big right hand, flies with a flying clothesline, sending all of his weight, and now tagging in Rollin Ryder.
And that was smart. Get the big man down, get him off his feet, tag out while you can. That was a very smart move by Trinidad.
Into the cover, two, and a very long 2 count for Rollin Ryder there on Tyrone Jennings.
But Jennings right back to his feet and taking control of the match. This is an impressive individual.
Exactly. And with Tyrone Jennings, he likes to talk about backstage about only having 12% body fat, and it shows. He's got solid muscle.
I think I've got 12% body fat in my left leg. I don't understand.
Yeah, something like that. I probably have maybe 12 or 13. And look at this, Rollin Ryder. He's got guts. He's trying to knock the big man down with these clotheslines, and it just is not working in his favor. And just like that, Tyrone Jennings, big back body drop, just changing the pace of the match again. And look at the strength here. Just beeling him with that's technically called the Russian neck drop.
Yeah, and given he's not a big kid by any means, but he just deadlifted him straight off the ground. I want everybody to understand that is easy.
Did you just see that inverted face gut buster, and referee counting this 2, 3, and the chocolate drops? Damian Wallace and Tyrone Jennings, who I think they need a different tag team name. I don't think they should call it chocolate drops.
I agree.
But they didn't even steal this victory. They just went out here and did what they were comfortable doing.
Yeah, and like I said, there's nothing fancy about what they did. Even that finishing maneuver we just saw, there wasn't anything fancy about that. He picked him up, jumped, and fell. There's nothing impressive about it, but it's strong and it hurts, and that's what matters.
Exactly. And I am being notified that backstage, Damian Gamer is standing by with Lance Seeley I'm assuming he's got something to say about his upcoming match tonight. And it looks like we're going to cut backstage in just a few moments here and see what Damian Gamer has to say. But before that, congratulations to the chocolate drops. But let's cut backstage with Lance Seeley.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing here with Damian Gamer. And Damian Gamer, tonight you make your return to the ring there's one question on everybody's mind. You've been gone for a while. Things have changed here in TPP over recent months. How will you compete with the newer wrestlers that are here now?
Well, Mr. Stealing, it's simple. Wrestling is my life. No, not only my life. Wrestling is my entire existence. It's how I support my family. It's how I relieve stress. It's how I make a living. But to answer your question, I'll compete with these new guys the same way I competed with the old ones, with 110% of my very best, and the end result of a much-needed game over. And to the man I'm facing tonight, if you think you're going to make a name for yourself by using me, you're wrong. I was born to be great, and I am destined for greatness, and you will fail.
And Damian Gamer with strong words towards the former school teacher, Mark Lester, who is getting ready to come down to the ring right now. He basically told Mark Lester, if you think you're going to get an easy win on me tonight, you are sorely mistaken.
Yeah, but look at this guy. A school teacher. Have you ever seen a school teacher built like that?
He's one of the. I'm pretty sure you were hanging out with some of the guys earlier backstage, and I don't know if you got a chance to talk with Mark Lester or not, but he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I don't understand why I love seeing him wrestle, but I don't understand why he's a wrestler, because he's much too nice to be a callous wrestler, suplexing and DDTing people. He's much too nice of a guy to be doing these types of things.
I agree, and yeah, I did get to speak to him for just a little bit, but for the short amount of time I did, I could see him being a school teacher. It makes perfect sense. Him in a classroom of students teaching, I think it was middle school.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. This, I don't get. Don't get me wrong, he's built like a monster, but I don't see it. I don't, for what it's worth, he's spectacular in the ring, and he's got the physique by all means, but I don't get the career choice.
Exactly, and he's got his work cut out for him tonight. Damian Gamer, he went toe-to-toe with Die Hard, back in September, put on a hell of a performance against Die Hard, and, he was unceremoniously fired after that match, but, Damian Gamer's had a rough go of things recently, within the past few months, and so he's looking for a little bit of retribution for himself. And unfortunately for, Mark Lester, I think because Mark Lester has such a lack of experience, because of his former profession, I think with Damian Gamer, it's only a matter of time. It's a matter of time before Damian Gamer looks for either the leg switch or the game over to, end this matchup. And we're getting ready to get this underway. Damian Gamer, Mark Lester, here we go. And like you said, Mark Lester, a super impressive physique.
For sure, and like you said, to your point, Damian Gamer does have a very decorated past. He's obvious.
And looks like we're having a little bit of communication issue with our headsets here. But yeah, like you were saying, or I'm assuming you were going to say, but, Mark. And as you see, that Dragon Sleeper from Mark Lester to Damian Gamer, and a big body clothesline. And now we're seeing Mark Lester start to take some control. And for Mark Lester, he's got to keep the pressure on Damian Gamer. He doesn't have a choice in this situation. He's got to keep it on. And beautiful, beautiful power slam. Inexperienced, but still doing very good. Into the cover here. 1, 2, and a 2 count on Damian Gamer. And that is impressive in itself. And now Damian Gamer pulling Mark Lester into that seated spine buster. And it's just a move as simple as that, and he's able to turn it back around.
Yeah, and like I was saying, Damian Gamer does have a very decorated past, and he needs to not take Mark Lester lightly, but Mark Lester does have his work cut out for him tonight.
Exactly. And I just saw that rope-hung jawbreaker off the top rope, and it always gets talked about, but you can get injured in so many ways. When you're wrestling, if you land the wrong way, or if the person doing the maneuver to you does it the wrong way, you can get hurt very severely. It could end your career off of one move.
It can, and it definitely wouldn't be the first time that I'd seen it, especially even here in TPP.
Exactly. And as you see, Mark Lester starting to get a little fired up here, starting to get a little bit of aggression behind what he's doing. And that's really important, especially for Mark Lester. You know, this would be a big resume win for Mark Lester tonight if he can pick up the win over Damian Gamer.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that Mark Lester doesn't have anything under his belt already, but I think this is the win of your career if you can pick it up over Damian Gamer here tonight.
Exactly, because with Damian Gamer, although you know, he held the internet championship, you know, for a couple of months till Bryson, you know, won it from him. However, you know, Damian Gamer was a very hot prospect in TPP, you know, the entire summer last year. He was one of the hottest prospects we had, aside from, you know, the former TPP champion Craig Hazard, and a couple of others, you know, amazing wrestlers. But he was one of the top guys, and so, you know, if Lester can pull it through tonight, then, you know, I can only imagine, although Lester's been eliminated out of the TPP title tournament, I can only imagine that maybe, hopefully, sometime in his near future, you know, he can start having some luck in his favor. And a seated spine buster there.
I felt that from over here.
The whole ring shook as Lester's spine hit the mat like that. That looked painful even for me.
That was pretty vicious.
But Mark Lester, he's not giving up, and that's what is so impressed. I'm so impressed with that right now because he's not giving up, and even later into the match now he's doing that tie up there with Damian Gamer. Damian Gamer showing his strength, picking up the big man.
That shows incredible just core body strength to pick somebody up straight up like that, and a long 2 count there for Damian Gamer.
Yeah, a very, very long 2 count. And again, you know, Mark Lester saying, you know, give me some more, sir. You know, he just got right back up and he was ready to continue on in this matchup.
Well, it would be kind of frustrating to see a guy with a physique like that not able to take a couple bumps. So it's good to see that, you know, he is at least you know, a formidable opponent here for Damian Gamer.
Oh my God! Look at this strength. Jesus, he's got Damian Gamer upside down, vertical. He's lifting Gamer by his leg.
And I can guarantee nothing feels good about that. A good kick straight to the head by Gamer, and that got him out of that hole.
Luckily for Gamer. I mean, I don't know. If somebody was wrenching on my Achilles like that, I wouldn't. I don't know. I'm not a wrestler, so I probably would tap out very quickly. But
Billings, you would tap out as soon as you got in the ring.
No, I wouldn't tap out.
I think you would.
I remember a time when another commentator wanted to wrestle me in a match. I think I could have won.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe against that one. I could see that against that one.
Well, look at Mark Lester. I mean, he's, you know, we've been kind of talking about this all night, but using the basic fundamentals to you know, keep yourself going in the matchup. And Mark Lester now going to the top rope. This is kind of high risk. You know, I've never seen him go to the top rope, and this could be a difference maker.
Big guy.
And he undershot it, and he didn't go far enough. Oh man, and that may be all she wrote. 1, 2. And somehow, some way, Mark Lester got his shoulder off the mat. That was impressive to be able to kick out. He may have knocked himself completely out.
He landed straight on his own face. I'm not really sure how he did kick out.
Exactly. Now look at Damian Gamer with the modified fisherman suplex, except again dropping Lester right on the top of his skull. And now I've seen this before from Damian Gamer. He's probably trying for his series of quick fisherman suplexes. He's got the second one here. Is he going to be able to hit the trifecta? You know,
yeah, and I mean, nothing about this is easy. You see the physique of Lester, and he does get that third one. That is not an easy task by any means.
Exactly, and Damian Gamer standing over Mark Lester here. You know, Damian Gamer, I think he knows he's in control. And Damian Gamer now going for the leg switch here. He calls this move the leg switch, just basically a seated thrusting clothesline, you know. And this move is called the Omega Driver, but Damian Gamer calls it the Game Over.
Ooh.
I think that may be it. Into the cover, hooks the leg. 1, 2, and 3. And Damian Gamer picks up the win. Mark Lester.
a rough match for Mark Lester. A very impressive performance there by Damian Gamer. Again, not to discount anything by Mark Lester at all, but he's not a small man by any means.
Exactly, and a tough break for Mark Lester tonight, but congratulations to Damian Gamer. He came out and did exactly what he said he was going to do, and I don't know. We still got two more.
Hi, I'm Diehard, the CEO of the power plant. Now, I get many occurrences throughout the week when people ask me, what does it take to be a TPP superstar? Well, most importantly, you have to be a constant professional. You always have to think and put the fans first. And I also always get questions of, is it storyline driven? Are there meaningful things? Remember, TPP Frontline, it is a family-oriented program. We care about our superstars. Every wrestler that wrestles in TPP knows that there are dangers involved with wrestling. As any gifted athlete in the world would say, it always comes down to this. These are trained professional athletes.
3-on-1 here. The numbers game.
So what makes you think that TPP Frontline is different? It's just the way we are. We are a different kind of place to be. Again, I'm Diehard, the CEO of the power plant.
And we're back here, and I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We were having some technical difficulties with our communication with the backstage area. I do apologize for that. But Sage, he's scheduled to compete right now against Victor Yosef, and it's strange to me because usually, or typically, management books the adrenaline division, our lightweights and our light heavyweights. Or lightweights, and cruiserweights. Usually they get booked a little bit earlier in the show, but they wanted Sage and Victor Yosef tonight, as our co-main event of the evening.
I don't blame him. I think this is a great match. I'm a huge Sage fan. Again, circling independent circuits, I am a big fan of Sage.
And honestly, out of all of the people that have came through the independents, I would have to say Sage is probably the one with the most experience. He's spent, the better part of 6 years independently working, going from city to city, from company to company, trying to, make a few bucks. And now he's not so much having to worry about trying to go city to city, trying to make a couple of bucks, because those that are signed, get paid relatively well. I mean, it's not the world's best money, but it's good enough to, cover the bills.
Right, but the best part about it, you said it, 6 years. He obviously wasn't, too worried about getting tied down somewhere. He loves what he does. He loved traveling, and I think that says a lot about a person.
Exactly, and with Victor Yosef, this man, I think he's got a couple of screws loose. Up in the noggin. He's very. It's not that he's careless in the ring. He doesn't care about the well-being of his opponents. He gets very carried away in what he does, and his finisher is a jumping pile driver, and plants him right on the top of your skull. A very dangerous maneuver.
Yeah, and also just a little bit disturbing.
Exactly, and right from the beginning of the match, Victor Yosef here, a flurry of strikes in the corner there. Just in this matchup just now started less than 45 seconds ago,
and he's already got Sage knocked down, which says a lot because this is not, he's not to be taken lightly by any means.
Exactly, and he's got with Sage, he knows what he's got to do, to win matches. In that 6 years, he won matches. It's not that he lost for 6 years straight, and Sage he's got to use his experience on the young Victor Yosef. He's got to just, pull something magical out of his, and the speed is what he needs. As you saw that beautiful springboard there.
Exactly, that is going to be the difference maker for Sage. If he can pull this out here, a long 2 count, if he can pull this out here, it is going to be because of his speed and because he knows how to use his body, especially against a larger opponent.
And ooh, Sage just spit right in his face. Did you see that? He just
I did.
And then, I think that enraged Victor a little bit there, as you saw that side Russian leg sweep that he did, followed up by this inverted armbar, grounding Sage for the time being. But Sage, again, he's kind of got the veteran status of all the other guys that are in the adrenaline division.
He does, and there's not a whole lot of power in anything he does. Those kicks, they look like they hurt a lot, and believe me, they do. There's not a whole lot of strength that goes into them, but it's pure technique. He knows exactly what he can do, what he's capable of, and he uses that to his advantage.
Exactly, and like you were saying, they may not have the most impact to them when he does them, but he knows how to pace himself. He knows how long he's going to have to do something to really work somebody else down. And, ooh, big heel kick there. That one might have had some oomph on it, I think.
That might have. It looked a little bit stronger than what he might have anticipated.
And the hang time on that knee from the top rope, that double knee drop into the cover with a 2 count. And that's impressive. I mean, and as you see Victor Yosef here going to go to the outside, take a little break. But, with Sage, he's not going to give him any time to breathe. And that's wise for Sage to do that.
Of course, I wouldn't either. You got your opponent rattled. They're trying to take a second to breathe. Don't let it happen. Get out there and follow them.
Exactly. And look at this. I mean, Victor is very, very aggressive. And for Sage, I think if Sage can get something going, then he'll do fine. But until that happens, he's going to be in some trouble. And as you saw, those wicked kicks right to the ribs, hunched over on the ropes like that. That doesn't feel good for anybody.
For sure. And again, I've said this a few times tonight, but there's nothing fancy about what Victor's doing. He uses brute strength. He uses his raw talent to just try to dismember his opponent. And Sage is holding his own, but I've got a bad feeling that if he doesn't step it up a little bit and again use that speed to his advantage, this isn't going to end very well for Sage.
Yeah, exactly. And Victor's doing typically the thing that you would do to somebody bigger than you, going after the legs. But, in this match, if you work on jumping kick and the speed, that's the thing. It's just, look at this. I mean, just a flurry of strikes after that kick right to the dome. I mean, he kicked Victor hard enough to where Victor got back to his feet.
I mean, Sage just got his own foot up about 2 feet above his own head. Tell me how the human body moves like that.
Well, I guess, and just the quick, quick kicks. And like you were saying, he doesn't have a lot of physical strength behind what he does. I mean, he weighs 198 pounds. He's a small guy, but he knows what he's doing, and that's what makes the world of difference. And a big left hook there from Victor, that'll definitely change the pace of the match.
It will. It looks like Sage's hand was under that rope. I guess the ref didn't see it.
Yeah, I guess the ref didn't see it because I plain as day on our end. His hand was under the rope. He was savvy enough to get his hand under that rope.
He was. Ref in a poor position. Maybe should have spotted that. But
look at Sage here. He's
just getting fired up.
Ooh! Oh, geez, a Bronco Buster.
That's old school.
But Sage he's looking comfortable.
He is. And that's a huge part of what here.
Oh, quick roll up here, 1, 2, and a 2 count. Sage almost caught himself there, and big running DDT right on top of the head. And that's a dangerous move to receive a DDT like that when somebody's running at you, full momentum.
It is, and it was said earlier to your point, Victor. He's a bit ruthless. He'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But it's just a little bit brutal at times.
Yeah, exactly. And I think out of everybody in the adrenaline division, I would have to say if I was scaling everybody, Victor would be, like you were saying, one of the most ruthless ones. I mean, we've got diehard son Anthony Guerrero Jr. in the adrenaline division, but Jr. isn't exactly ruthless.
Right. He is a little bit more passive. I would almost relate him a little bit to Bricks from earlier, but there is a little bit more ruthlessness that you'll see in Victor.
Oh yeah, exactly. And and me and you have talked about this before. When Junior was first training and everything, we talked about how we thought that Junior was going to end up being exactly like Die Hard, and he's completely done a 180, and he's the exact opposite. The fans actually like Junior compared to compared to Diehard. And a big attempted outside dive there, but Victor swatted him away.
He just flew about 2 feet above the top rope, which means he fell onto his abdomen about 10 feet off the ground.
Exactly, and the inverted backbreaker, and I got a feeling I know what's coming next, and oh my God, no, not out here on the padding. And the pile driver, Jesus. Oh my God. And look at Victor back in the ring here, and now just taunting as, the referee is counting. He's counting Sage. And this Sage isn't moving. He's out. Yeah, I mean, the referee's still counting. Victor in the ring here, just taunting as the referee continues to count. And oh man.
We need to get a medical team to see if he's even still conscious.
Exactly. The referee's going to call for the bell here. Victor Yosef is going to win by count out tonight.
Forget the bell. Can we get a medical team to check and see if he's all right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Can we get somebody down here? At least momentarily there, we did see Victor, we saw Sage starting to, move around a little bit, so that's good. And it seems like some of our medical personnel is now attending to Sage, and looks like they're helping him to the back. So at least he's on his own feet right now. That's a good thing.
That was brutal. I'm not really sure how he walked away from that. We'll definitely need to get him checked out by our in-house doctor. Make sure there's nothing broken, anything severely wrong now.
Exactly, and that's I want to say that's a risk you take being a wrestler, but I don't know. And up next we do have the main event. And this is big. This is former TCO member Jordan Moore. Former TPP champion Jordan Moore, former hardcore champion, tag team champion, $1 million champion. Jordan Moore is the only man in TPP to hold every single title. Diehard hasn't even done that. Only
there's something to be said for that. That is huge. I can't put enough emphasis on what an accomplishment that is.
Exactly, and it's not like they were just like a one-day title reign. These were extended periods. When he first became the hardcore champion, I believe he was the hardcore champion for like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, the first time, the second time, I think it was almost a year that he held it.
Exactly. Plus, I believe his TPP title reign was the shortest, which Diehard unceremoniously
stripped and then fired.
Exactly. And but he's got a big challenge tonight. With James Braden. I mean, these guys, there's so much history here.
For sure. Yeah, and I mean, you look at James coming out of here in his ring gear. I don't think Jordan was prepared for a match here tonight. He's still wearing, the same slacks and everything he was in earlier tonight when he confronted Diehard. I think he was out here with pure intention of staking his claim as to being back, having that contract from Melinda re-signed. I don't think he had any intention of competing here tonight, and being put against James Braden, there's nothing easy about that.
Exactly, but the thing is, James Braden may be an intimidating big man, but Jordan Moore is not showing any signs of intimidation here.
For sure, and like he said, he has been. It's not like he's been sitting around. He's been training. He's gone back to Japan. He's been honing those skills. I'll be surprised if we see any signs of ring rust here.
Exactly, and look at Jordan Moore here, playing games with James Braden. The first 10 seconds of the match. This is James Braden. The thing is, with James Braden, he likes to strike fast in the early going.
For sure. And I mean, you get the big man off his game, you frustrate him just like Jordan's doing here. I mean, that's got to play the psyche of James Braden.
And now James is definitely getting aggravated. As you saw, he was saying some words that we can't exactly say. We are a family-oriented program here. And I think he's a little frustrated right now because the thing is, like we were saying, there's a lot of history with these guys, former tag team champions.
Right. I mean, that goes all the way back to where James left him in that steel cage match. Jordan was left alone to fend for himself against two very formidable opponents. I think there's still a lot of bad blood between these two.
And here we go, James Braden, and asserting his strength there, that basic belly to back pickup, and now showing his strength here. But big slap right to the face. And
And
Jordan,
exchanging some blows back and forth. A huge kick to the back of the head there by Jordan.
exactly. And look at Jordan showing he's got the strength to pick up the 280 plus pound man and drop him right, right onto his tailbone, and that doesn't feel good.
No, but again, even, we're only 2 minutes into this match, and most of that was spent with, Jordan in and out of the ring. But, even with the big throw there by James, there's not a lot of ring rust.
Exactly. I haven't seen Jordan miss a step yet, and James using his shoulder, as a weapon, and I mean clearly between these two there's a size difference. James Braden 280 pounds. I mean I don't even know the actual weight of Jordan Moore anymore. I mean when he was actively, when he was a TPP champion, he weighed I think 242 or 243 pounds.
Ish, yeah, and I mean that was after he put on some weight. He's obviously grown, dropped some weight, picked up some muscle. There's a lot going on. Like you said, I don't even know what to put him at anymore. We don't have any stat sheets for him. We didn't expect him to be here, much less competing.
Exactly, and the thing is, like right now we're seeing James, doing his assertive kind of because James Braden is the muscle of TCO.
For sure. And I mean, you see a lot of strength in him, and it might not take a whole lot to put Jordan down, but it's going to take a lot to keep him down. I mean, look back at that match with him and Die Hard. How long was that match? How long did they go back and forth?
I think the final match time on that was, I think it was 47 or 48 minutes, and I remember we sat there and we were, at the 45-minute mark, Jordan kicked it into overdrive, and he took it to a whole new level.
For sure, and I mean that's what he has that a lot of people don't have. A great spine buster there by Jordan, and it's just that sixth gear that he can pop it down into and get that little bit of umph when he needs it that a lot of people don't have. It's something you can't be taught and you can't train to get. It's just the drive and the compassion, the will to succeed, everything that he wants and needs to do to survive. He does.
Exactly, and and I've talked with some, even when I had James Braden at the commentary table with me for a little bit last year, and see now look now James has taken a little bit of time for himself here as he's walking around the ring. But as I was going to say, I mean, and arguing with the fan, but like James was saying, when you do the TCO training, it's like 25% physical, 75% mental.
Mental, exactly. And I think that's something a little that what Jordan's putting back here on James. You saw James get a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, picking up the steel steps,
throwing them back down. I think he sort of wanted Jordan to fall into the outside. He wasn't having any of that. Stayed inside the ring, took himself a little rest, sat down in the corner, got a breather.
Exactly, and and I'm not saying that Die Hard is the only reason why Jordan Moore ever became successful, because I'm sure that Jordan Moore would have became successful, without TCO.
Regardless, right?
But I think that when he was in TCO, he was offered the opportunities to be put out there really quick, and beautiful flapjack by Jordan Moore there. But the thing is, like we were saying, if as long as Jordan continues to play into the psyche of James Braden, then James isn't going to be able to win this matchup. James is on a losing streak. He is. Yeah, he hasn't won a match in 3 months.
Right, and we don't even know when the last time Jordan competed was. He said, and obviously he says he's been in Japan, going back and forth between there, and a huge senton to the outside, landing directly on the abdomen of James, and again taking a little breather, getting in the face. And like you said, a huge part of what they used to do in TCO was mental. That throwback dropping his skull directly down on that. I mean, that's not a lot of padding there, folks.
Exactly. That's
about a quarter-inch of pad in concrete. That's all that is.
And what I've noticed is, if you think of Jordan Moore 3 years ago, okay, let's go back before he won the TPP title. He was very super aggressive in his matches, very quick to strike constantly. And now we're seeing a Jordan Moore that's more, I don't want to say cerebral, but he's thinking of what he's doing. He's pacing himself. He's keeping himself positioned to where he can stay in the offense.
For sure, they're measured. He does what he does with conviction. There's a reason for every movement, and and maybe that's why in a little bit of a novice playthrough maybe in his past just didn't have the experience, a little bit more reckless. And if that's what we're seeing him that he's grown out of, that's a huge step in the right direction. And he's already a former TPP champion, like you said. He's a TPP champion. He held the $1 million championship, a tag team title champion, and probably one of the best hardcore champions we've ever had. That with all that already under his belt, and he's still learning, he's still growing, and still moving in the right direction. That's a huge step.
Exactly, and I don't know if you saw that or not, Wes, but Jordan Moore just got the better of James Braden from that standing type. That was beautiful. I think Jordan's actually gotten to the head of James Braden. I think he's done it, and he's got to keep the pressure on, and eventually James Braden he'll give up.
Well, and maybe this is something that subliminally he wanted to happen. He got inside the head of Die Hard. He mentioned something about James Braden, and he put him in a match with James Braden. And that's maybe this was all part of the plan for Jordan.
Exactly, and I mean we can, as you see, I mean James Braden just using his strength. That's the one thing that James Braden has always had over anybody who's came through TCO. He's always been the strongest guy there.
Muscle,
I mean, James Braden can squat. I think the last time he did a test squat, and it was like 627 pounds or 625 or something like that.
Absurd, yeah.
Exactly, it's an absurd amount of weight that this man can lift with just his shoulders. So I can only imagine, the strength in his legs, or like when he punches you, and that knee buster there is not going to do him any favors.
Yeah, like I said earlier, you take the base away from the big man. He doesn't have a leg to stand on. And again, moving back just a little bit, did you see that armbar that he had Jordan, and Jordan muscled himself out of that?
Yes. And Jordan Moore still showing he's got some of the hardcore tendencies there, using his body as a weapon. But with Jordan, he knows what it takes to beat James Braden. He knows.
He does, and it's not necessarily recklessness as it is just calculated determination and the will to just do whatever it takes to win. This is a massive.
Look at that, Jordan Moore ducked that big boot.
This is huge. I mean, I don't think he's ever looked better.
Exactly, he looks phenomenal. It's like he hasn't missed a single beat. And that eye gouge there from James Braden, now we're seeing the TCO of now that we know, choking your opponent while they're on the ground.
And going back to that arm, James is, I think he's figured out that, Jordan's a little bit more technical than he used to be. And if he takes away maybe some of that base, takes away some of the arm strength, he might be able to keep him down.
Yeah, maybe. The thing is with Jordan, I'm assuming, the last time we saw Jordan Moore, finisher-wise, he finished off Die Hard with a kick to the skull. So I'm assuming we're looking for something like that. I'm assuming if we see Jordan go to a corner, that's what he's going to do. But
yeah, I've got to imagine, we haven't seen, like you said, we haven't seen anything from him in, almost 2 years now. So him being in Japan, I don't know what we're looking for. I mean, there's not going to be a warning sign. And, James doesn't have any prep, and he didn't have any time to prepare for this. He doesn't know what to look for. He can only base, what he knows of Jordan, again, given they were tag team champions at one point. But the quickness of Jordan taken down with that kick straight to the knee, the drop kick to the knee. I mean, and that leg drop, that's vintage Jordan.
Exactly. Well, see, this is what made them such a dangerous tag team, was the fact that you have Jordan Moore, the smaller man, and then James Braden, the big powerhouse, and Jordan with another 2 count on James Braden. And James Braden went to come up swinging, but Jordan was able to catch him off guard there and keep it in his favor. Now look at Jordan here tying James Braden upside down.
And we've seen this from him before. You can obviously, he's still got some of the old tricks up his sleeve. Huge. Stomp straight to the chest. Nothing about that feels good.
And that is the one move, ladies and gentlemen, where it's good to be the bigger man receiving that, because you've got more padding to catch yourself when all their weight's coming down on your chest like that. But big kick to the face. James might be out. I mean, that was.
And these are all. I mean, this is all straight vintage Jordan. And then all of this. This is He started off the matchup with a little bit of mind games. He's in the middle. He's sort of brought us some new stuff to the table, and everything that we've seen here in the last couple of minutes, all vintage Jordan Moore.
Exactly, and that's the thing, and this is what made them at the time when they were such a devastating tag team to
So dangerous. Yeah.
I mean, if it was against a big team, then you just get James Braden in there and just have him power him through, and then let Jordan Moore get in there and hit him with the speed. But now it's James Braden he's got to, like I said, James Braden's on a losing streak. He's got to figure out a way to turn this around, because if he loses to Jordan tonight, Die Hard is not going to be happy.
Oh no, I mean, you're looking at Die Hard's brother. Die Hard Die Hard doesn't even want Jordan here. Look at the speed, just the combination of hits, punches, and kicks, and he just took him down for the count again. Jordan not looking to follow up with anything, just proving a point.
And the thing is, and we both me and Landon Miles had talked about Bryson in this situation, but Bryson at this point looked extremely tired, but Jordan Moore looks like he's in phenomenal shape. He doesn't even look like he's fatigued. And Jordan, oh Jesus!
Oh, I think he just broke James in half.
He might have broke his ribs. 1, 2, 3, and Jordan Moore. Technically he's signed to a contract. But he just speared the crap out of James Braden.
I think he just broke James in half. I mean, like you said, normally we see him go to the corner. He lines up for that kick. He waited till James was on his feet and snapped him in half.
Exactly. I mean, he did that cutthroat, and then he just full speed. Everything. We're gonna have to sit down and talk with Jordan Moore sometime, this week, and find out. We gotta get some stats on this young man. I gotta see what he's been up to, for the past 2 years. I gotta see what's going on here, because he came out here and it looked like he did not miss a single beat, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, 0 ring rust. It looks like he's been training, every day the past week or two. There is absolutely nothing to, that you can take away from him here.
Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time for tonight. I'm Christopher Billings.
And I'm Wes Steele.
Thank you again for tuning in tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you next time.